So when we are tempted with physical appetites, choose the vegetables instead of king's food for the sake of purity. Daniel chapter 1 verse 8. Daniel and his friends were taken into the land of pagans, Babylon. You know what happened there? And the king said, I want all the handsome men in this kingdom, in my kingdom, to serve me in my palace. That was the order. So the king's guard and agents were looking for handsome people. And Daniel and 3 friends were chosen. So after being chose, they will be trained 3 years. And after 3 years, there will be a contest, what we call it, fashion show or something like that. So if they pass, they will serve the king in the palace. Daniel and 3 friends were chosen. And in today's term, the hostel warden said, so from now onwards, you're going to eat the best food in Babylon. So what are the best food? What do you think are or is the best food in Jalukie Town? That might not be good to eat here in the church. Who knows, sikar is the best thing for some people. Wine might be or may be the best drink for some people. So that those king's choice foods were offered to Daniel and his friends. So what were those? Wine, meat, fish, all the best foods in Babylon. But Daniel said, no, we are not going to take those foods. And the warden was so shocked. Why? If you don't take this food, the king will kill me. So you have to eat. And Daniel said, we are not going to eat. And the hostel warden said, if you are not going to eat, all your friends will be handsome. After days, 10 days, 100 days, but you and your friends will not be as handsome as other people. So Daniel said, no. Just give us vegetable and see us. Test us after 10 days. Now what happened? The hostel warden listened to them, and Daniel and friends were given vegetables, and other people were given wine, meat, fish, and all kinds of best food in Babylon. After 10 days, they made a fashion show. See, today we had fashion show, and only the girls are participating. But in those days, during Babylonian time, let's say, fashion shows, beauty shows were done, and in that shows, men were participating. So they came one after another, and Daniel and his friends were more handsome than other people, healthier than other people. Why? Is there some special vitamin in that vegetable? No, it is God. It is God. Their strength, their success, their physical beauty came not from vegetable, but from God, whom they fear. You see that? They were living between the two worlds. They were living in the world of Babylon. But they don't act, they don't walk like Babylonians. That's what we should do. So in the book of Philippians, it says, our citizenship is in heaven. Means our real place, our original place is heaven, not here. But we are living here for a short period. So what should we do? We should live like citizens of heaven. So the next one is, when you face two worlds and two kings in your life, kneel before God who rules the universe instead of a king who rules a country. Now you see that. It is always better to fear God instead of others. So when you are surrounded with lions, that is taken from the life of Daniel. When you are surrounded with lions, fix your eyes on the face of God, not on the faces of the lions. He said that. Who can look at the face of lion and not be afraid? So you're looking at the face of lion and you're afraid. How to solve that problem? Don't look at the face of lion. When we look at the face of God, we fear God. And that fear gives us confidence that He will help us. So when Daniel was in the lion's den, he did not look at the face of lions. If he do that, or if he did that, he will be afraid, he will lose faith and confidence in God. But he prayed to God. That's why God controlled the lions. We young people are surrounded we young people are surrounded by so many lions who can devour us, and so many things that can distract us from the track, from our profession, from our church life, and from our godly life. There's so many things are there. So many things surround us. But if we fix our eyes on those things, within no time we will be consumed by those things. But if we fix our eyes on God, we will be protected like Daniel. In the Bible, I often preach and say this one among the youth. I am also included. The book of Ecclesiastes is a book of philosophy. The greatest and the highest philosophy of life principles are there in the book of Ecclesiastes. Why? Because it was written by the wisest man on earth and the richest man on earth. So, to hear the story of the wisest man and the richest man on earth will give us the best principle of life. So Solomon was doing that one. He was looking for the meaning of life. I think it was Andrew Morris, a French philosopher. He was asked, what is the meaning of life? And he said, I don't have the slightest idea about why we are here. One day or another day, sooner or later, we are going to die. 100 years from now, none of us will be here on this earth. Why not thinking about the purpose of life? 100 years from now, none of us will be living here on this earth. Why not thinking about the purpose of life? Solomon did a research and said, you might be giving great effort in your life, using all your skills and wisdom and educations. And Solomon said, there is no meaning of life in that. Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 1 to 11. And then he said, achievement. Who achieved more than Solomon? Nobody achieved things. Nobody ever had a life achievement like Solomon. Solomon had the greatest achievement on this earth. Building great monuments and buildings, exercising his wisdom, utilizing his riches, and then building relationship with others. Of course, having many wives. That is also one achievement. He had 1,000 wives. Who can achieve? Which of us can achieve that one? See, the achievement of Solomon is so great. And at last he said, there is no meaning of life in achievement. Ecclesiastes chapter 1, 12 to 18. And then he goes on to say, pleasure. A kind of, how should we say? Pleasure. Pleasure is so different from joy. Joy comes from the Lord. Pleasure comes from fulfilling our fleshly desire. Solomon did, as I said, he had 700 wives actually. Wives. But those 300 extras were the wives of other people. He collected all those widows and he made them to be his wives. So all together he achieved 1,000 wives. You see, even in a small village like my village, 400 or 500 people, and there are so many people I never met till today. Now you see, having 1,000 wives, I believe that some of the wives did not know anything about Solomon, or he did not meet some of his wives. How can one person manage 1,000 wives? He was looking for a pleasure. The fulfillment of his lust, the fulfillment of his fleshly desire. He did that one. Using all his wisdom and using all his riches, he did. He was looking for the meaning of life in pleasure, and at last he said, there is no meaning of life in pleasure. So, and then he went on to say lifestyle. See, most of us admire about the lifestyle of other people. Rich people, models, film actresses and actors, we admire them. What do they do for us? Nothing. They have no idea about us, but we are big fans for them. That is such a pity thing for the youth. We follow some people who never know us. It's better to follow Jesus Christ, who is always close to us. Some of us might be a big fan of Deepika Padukone also. She has no idea about you or me. So why following someone who never knows us? Why giving our time? Why modeling ourselves, or why shaping ourselves after the likes of all those people who never know us? Solomon did lifestyle. So in his time, golds were not counted precious. That's what the Bible says. His lifestyle was so luxurious. He had the best gown, the best clothes. That's why Jesus Christ quoted in the gospel. You know what did Jesus Christ say? He was comparing Solomon and a flower, lily. So what did Jesus Christ say? Look at those trees and grass, particularly that lily. Even Solomon could not cover himself like those flowers, because that those flowers are covered and beautified by God. Solomon beautified himself by his wisdom and riches. You see that? So when we utilize our riches and wisdom to make our lifestyle better, that is such a great effort. And Solomon at last said, no, there is no meaning and fulfillment in having a high lifestyle. So let us not do that one. See, if we always try to copy someone, it is such a tiresome, okay? But that person never knew that. Some people did so many plastic surgery even to become dogs. So, you see? Even to become like Angelina Jolie and all. She never knew about that. She had no idea about that person. So if we give the same effort as a follower of Jesus Christ, we will look like, or we will have the image of Jesus Christ by this time. So, and he said again, in business, he was one of the most successful businessman on earth. He did business, cutting trees and selling it, and with those trees he built houses and buildings. He did business, and he made friendship with so many kings and queens in the surrounding areas of the kingdom of Israel. That's why he had many wives. From where did those wives come? He met those kings, others king, and trying to make friendship and relationship, he took their daughters. And now, by marriage, he became a son or a son-in-law of those surrounding kings. See, that was the way he was doing. He was doing a business. And then finally, he admitted that there is no fulfillment of life even in successful business. So what did he say at last? Ecclesiastes chapter 12, the last part. And he said, now hear the conclusion. What is the conclusion? You know what happened, Solomon? By the time Solomon wrote the book of Ecclesiastes, he was old enough, very, very old. And we will not be mistaken to say that he was on his deathbed. He could not move anymore. But he realized, just before he died, he realized that, oh, God had given me wisdom, God had given me riches, but I misused all those things. And now he realized that. Even though he realized, he could not do anything anymore. So he was thinking in our term and language. He was thinking, oh, the best thing I could do now is to write a letter. To write a story about me. So that people will read and fear God. So in his dying bed, he wrote this one, the book of Ecclesiastes. And then when he wrote this one, who were the recipients? He did not call even one of his wives to hear these stories. He did not call his sons or children. He did not call anyone. He called the young people. You see that? How important are the young people in society and in church? That's why he called or he selected the young people. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 1. Remember your Creator in the days of your youth. See that? We are the most important generations. India, our population is, I think, more than 60% is young people. Even in the church, even in the society, even in our village. The main content of our society is always young people. When we build ourselves, when we are grounded in Jesus Christ, when we set our foundation straight and right, automatically the church will be all right, society will be all right, everything will be all right. So Jesus Christ said, for what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and loses his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? The soul is so important that there is nothing which we can give in exchange for that. So let us realize that we are living between two worlds. There are so many people who want our times. One is God and the one is Satan. God also wants the young people. Satan also wants the young people. And it is our choice. God will not force us to serve Him. God will not force us to love Him. He has already given a free will which we can exercise. So let us choose God when we live between this one. I would like to give three points as I conclude my message exhortations from the life of Daniel. We need to learn how to say no. this generation, the young generation, loses the courage to say no. That's why so many young people are distracted and influenced by surrounding. So first, we need to draw the line of resistance. We need to draw the line of resistance, mean to say no. Daniel chapter 1 verse 8, Daniel said, no, we are not going to eat the food of the king. We are not going to have the king's choice. Can we be able to say that like that? Are we dare enough to be like Daniel? Can we say or stand like Daniel? Can we say no to all our physical appetites? Why do we make walls of this church? Why do we make walls of this compound? And all the states and districts have demarcation. Why? So that the government inside will be good and safe. So in our life, when we don't have boundary, when we don't draw a line of resistance, that will be the starting point of our fall and downfall. Daniel knew it very well. That's why he drew the line of resistance and he said no, and he stood for that. So that's why they were successful. The next one is, we need to draw the line of dependence. On whom are we depending? Where do you draw your strength? Where do you draw your courage? Sometimes we will be discouraged, disheartened. Sometimes we will be fighting battles and wars which even we cannot express to our family members. You see that? So, when we face such kind of things and difficulties in our life, on whom are we depending? See, Daniel and his friends depended on God. Daniel chapter 2 verse 17 and 18 said, Daniel went to his house and informed his friends so that they might request compassion from the God of heaven. There were so many orders and issues from the king of Babylon. Everyone should worship this image. Everyone should respect King Nebuchadnezzar. But if Daniel and his friends were doing that one, it will be against their faith. So, in order to live a good life between the world of God and the world of Nebuchadnezzar, first they went and prayed to God. We should do that. We should depend on God in everything. Daniel drew the line of confidence. We are confident. We cannot say, I am confident because my mother said this, my pastor said this, my friend said this. No. We should be confident because God's word says. The more we pray, the more confident we are in everything. So, going back to chapter 1, Daniel said to the hostile warden, please test us. Test us. Examine us after 10 days, whether we are worse or we are better. See, he said, test us. He was so confident that they will be better than other friends. He was confident that God will help them. In the same way, God helped them. So after 10 days, when there was a beauty show, Daniel and his friends were much more better. That's because they had confidence on God. You see, sometimes we should take a stand to be different from others. In the book of Numbers chapter 13, Moses sends people to spy out lands. And two of them were Joshua and Caleb. They came back and they reported it to Moses and they said, no, the land that we were surveying was so good, but people living there are so strong. Giants, Nephilims, like people like Goliaths were living there. If we go there, they will surely kill us. See that? The whole nation of Israel was crying and they say, let us not go into that land. But what happened? Joshua and Caleb stood up and said, no, we must go there and occupy that land. It is not about their decision whether they are strong enough or not. It's about God's commission. In Genesis chapter 12, Abraham was told to occupy the land of Canaan. And that message was passed on to Moses. Go and occupy the land of Canaan. See, we are going in one way or another way. Our life is like the people of Israel. We are going toward our destination. There will be so many giants. There will be so many Nephilim. Nephilim means big people. There will be so many battles which seems difficult for us to defeat. But let us remember the promises. Let us remember the promises in God's word. That if we go in the name of God, we will defeat them. Let us take a stand to be different from others. So, this evening, the place that we stay might not seem favorable for our lives, to practice our faith, to practice godliness. But if we take stand like Daniel and all, I think one day or another day, we will be appreciated by God. And then our life between two worlds, God is wanting to use us. God desires to use us. And Satan also desires to use us. So let us take our stand so that we will glorify God in our life. Let's tell one story. We all know that one.